Hi there. Until this year, I've always thought what a lucky generation I've been a part of. My granddad fought in the First World War. My dad was a fireman in London during the Second World War and got called up in 1944 and ended up somewhere in the desert for a couple of years. And for my mum and dad, they had their years from being about 21 to 27 as years of the Second World War. And I grew up after the war, and rationing had just come to an end, and there was a National Health Service, and I even had a full grant when I was at university. I made money when I was at university without having to work. And so, I've had it really easy. And then this year came and COVID, and I'm not quite so sure how easy it's been now. But I've been reading a little bit about the Second World War, and one story that struck me this week was about a German secret weapon, the V-bombs, V1 and V2. They were like rockets that were planned and were real. They were sent over and they ended up bombing London towards the end of the Second World War. But in the book I read, it said that the worst thing about the V-bombs, it wasn't the destruction that they caused, even though that was real. It was the fact of the fear that it brought on people. And that made me think about what we're going through now. COVID is real. It's killed so many people. There are others who are still very sick from the results of it. But the fear of COVID worries me as well. I'm calling that fear the F word. And fear is an awful thing. I remember when I was about 14, I think I was quite a fearful kid, really. And we did the Shakespeare play, Julius Caesar, at school. And I was really struck then, and I've looked it up recently, by a quote from Caesar himself. And he says this: "Cowards die many times before their deaths. The valiant never taste of death but once. Of all the wonders that I yet have heard, it seems to me most strange that men should fear, seeing that death, a necessary end, will come when it will come." Death, a necessary end, will come when it will come. Yes, we'll all die one day. And someone once said to me that all fear in the end boils down to a fear of death. And I'm so keen that for me and for any of us that we're very careful in these days. Of course we need to be. We need to do all the right things. But equally, we mustn't let fear control us. So let's wash our hands, let's keep our distance, let's wear masks where we need to, but let's not succumb to this awful thing, this F word of fear. In the Bible, it talks about fear. The old style preachers used to use fear to try and bring people to God. If you don't get right with God, this and this will happen to you. And you very rarely hear that today. And I have to say, in the end, I'm quite pleased. But in the New Testament, it talks about fear. And in 1 John chapter 4, it talks about God being love. God is love. And then the writer says this: perfect love casts out fear. And as I've been thinking about myself and thinking about other people that I know and other people that I care about, I hope that we're not letting fear control us. Yes, as I say, let's do all the right things. COVID is real. It ruins people's lives, but so does fear. So what do you do if you're feeling fear? Well, some of us who feel that prayer works and that we know God, why don't we pray about it? Ask God to take away any wrong fear that we might have. I believe God will do that. But, if even you're here and think, I'm just not sure whether I believe in God or not, I'd still encourage you, don't let fear control you in these days. I wish you a good week and hope to speak to you next week. Take care. Bye-bye.